For 7 years, the world's most advanced fighter jet didn't exist. If you asked the US government about it in 1980, they would deny it. If you looked at the budget, it wasn't there. If you saw it flying over Nevada, you were hallucinating. This is the story of the F-117 Nighthawk. The plane that was born in total darkness. Built in a hangar with blacked-out windows. Flown only at night by pilots who couldn't tell their own families what they did. It started in 1975 in a shed at Area 51, a secret project called Have Blue. The goal wasn't to fly fast. It wasn't to carry the most bombs. The goal was to disappear. To build a plane that radar couldn't see. The design came from a brilliant mathematician named Denny Overholser. He used equations from a Russian physicist's paper on radar diffraction. The Soviets had the math, but they didn't believe it could work. America did. The result was ugly. It looked like a faceted diamond made of metal, angular, sharp, nothing like a normal airplane. Aerodynamically, it was a nightmare. The plane was so unstable it couldn't fly without a computer. If the computer failed, the plane would tumble out of the sky instantly. Pilots called it the Wobblin' Goblin because it shook and rattled in turbulence. It was hard to fly. It was unforgiving. But when they turned the radar on it, nothing. The faceted shape bounced radar waves at weird angles, scattering them into the sky. To a Soviet radar operator scanning the border, the F-117 was just a ghost. A bird or nothing at all. The skin was coated with radar-absorbent material, a secret mixture that turned radar energy into heat. It was so effective that the plane's radar cross-section was smaller than a sparrow. For years, the US flew these missions in total silence. Black paint, no markings. Pilots wearing masks. The program was so secret, it didn't even have an official name. If they crashed, pilots were ordered to destroy the cockpit with thermite grenades before rescue arrived. Better to die than let the technology fall into enemy hands. The secret was so big, even the pilots' families didn't know where they were going. They just told their wives, "I'm flying a training mission." They operated from Tonopah Test Range in Nevada, a base that didn't appear on any maps. But secrets have a way of leaking. And in 1988, the Pentagon made a mistake. They released a photo. Just one grainy photo of the F-117. Suddenly, the world knew. The invisible jet was real. And the enemy started looking for a way to see it. The F-117 changed warfare forever. Before this plane, you needed fighter escorts to suppress enemy air defenses. You needed massive bombing runs with dozens of aircraft to clear a path. You accepted casualties as the cost of doing business. The Nighthawk could do it alone. One jet, one bomb, one target, gone. No escort needed. No warning, no casualties. During the Gulf War in 1991, the F-117 was the tip of the spear. On the first night of the war, it flew right over Baghdad. It dropped smart bombs through ventilation shafts, destroying command centers without warning. Iraq's entire early warning system was blind within minutes. The F-117s flew 1,300 sorties during the war. They hit 40% of all strategic targets. And they lost 0 aircraft. It was unstoppable, or so they thought. But here's the dark secret. It's not magic. It's physics. And physics can be beaten. The F-117 wasn't truly invisible. It just had a very small radar cross-section. From below or from the side, it could be detected. The problem was, the F-117 pilots got cocky. They flew the same routes. They used the same frequencies. They assumed they were untouchable. And on the other side of the world, a Yugoslavian army colonel named Zoltan Dani was watching. He was an electrical engineer. He commanded the 3rd Battalion of the 250th Air Defense Missile Brigade. His weapon? The Soviet SA-3 Goa missile system, technology from 1961, old, clunky, and slow. By Western standards, it was museum junk. This shouldn't be able to touch a stealth fighter. But Dani was smart. He realized the Americans were predictable. He turned his radar off most of the time. He stayed silent. He knew that when the F-117 opened its bomb bay doors to drop its payload, its stealth shape changed for 3 seconds. For 3 seconds, the invisible jet became visible. Dani was waiting. He trained his crews to react in under 4 seconds. Turn on radar, lock target, fire, turn off radar, move the battery. All before the Americans could respond. It was a desperate gamble. But Dani had something the Americans didn't expect. Patience. And he was about to make history. March 27, 1999. Night. Over Kosovo. Captain Dale Zelko is flying the F-117, callsign Vega 31. He's a veteran pilot with over 1,000 flight hours. This is his 33rd combat mission. He's tired. He's bored. It's just another routine bombing run over Yugoslavia. The weather is bad. Clouds cover the sky. Rain pounds the cockpit. Zelko can barely see the ground, but that's okay. His plane is invisible. He has nothing to worry about. He flies the same route he's flown dozens of times before, same altitude, same speed, same pattern, predictable. At 8:43 p.m. local time, he reaches the target area near the village of Bujanovci. He opens the bomb bay doors. That's when Danny's radar lights up. Not a lock. Just a blip. A strange faint blip that appears for 2 seconds. Danny doesn't hesitate. He's been waiting for this moment for weeks. His crew springs into action. Target acquired. Fire! 2 SA-3 missiles launch from the battery. They roar into the night sky, leaving trails of smoke and fire. Usually, the F-117 sensors scream a warning. Missile launch. But Zelko heard nothing. Silence. The missile was so old, the computer didn't even recognize it as a threat. It was programmed for modern systems, not technology from the 1960s. Then, impact. A massive explosion rocks the sky. The F-117 is hit. The tail rips off. The plane enters a flat spin, tumbling end over end. Zelko is thrown around the cockpit, G-forces crushing him against the seat. His vision blurs. He has to eject, now. He pulls the handle. The canopy blows off with a thunderous bang. He's launched into the night air at 150 miles per hour, falling towards enemy territory. Behind him, his $45 million stealth fighter crashes into a field and burns. The explosion lights up the night sky for miles. This was the impossible moment. The first and only time a stealth fighter has ever been shot down in combat. The invisible jet, brought down by a missile system older than the pilot who flew it. The US military panicked. They launched a massive rescue operation, 2 HH-60 Pave Hawk helicopters, 4 F-16 fighters for cover, A-10 Warthogs for ground support. They flew deep into enemy territory. They found Zelko hiding in a drainage ditch, soaked from the rain, shivering from shock, but alive. He had evaded capture for 3 hours, hiding from Serbian patrols with his 9mm pistol ready. They got him out. Barely. The rescue helicopters were shot at. The F-16s had to dodge surface-to-air missiles. It was a miracle they all made it back. But they left something behind. The wreckage. The wreckage of Vega 31 didn't just burn. It held secrets. The skin of the F-117 was coated in special radar-absorbent material. The exact composition was classified top secret. The shape was classified. The avionics were top secret. The stealth technology was America's most valuable military asset. The US military tried to bomb the site repeatedly to destroy the evidence. They dropped cluster bombs. They fired cruise missiles. They wanted to turn the wreckage into dust. But the local farmers got there first. Within hours of the crash, Serbian villagers were crawling through the debris field. They scavenged pieces, a wing flap, a landing gear strut, shards of the heat shield, fragments of the radar-absorbent coating. They didn't know what they had. They just knew it was valuable. Some sold pieces as souvenirs. Others kept them as trophies. One farmer used a piece of the heat shield as a roof patch for his barn, and then the Russians arrived. Intelligence agents from Moscow moved in quickly. They collected the debris. They analyzed the radar-absorbent coating in their laboratories. They studied the faceted shape. They reverse-engineered the technology. What they learned helped them build their own stealth fighters like the Su-57 years later. The Chinese also got their hands on pieces. The US tried to cover it up. They claimed it was a mechanical failure. They denied it was shot down. But the world saw the footage. Serbian television broadcast images of the wreckage. The myth of invincibility was broken. The F-117 was retired shortly after, in 2008. The Pentagon said it was due to budget cuts and aging aircraft. But the truth. The secret was out. The stealth wasn't safe anymore. Every enemy now knew how to detect it. Today, a piece of the F-117 sits in a museum in Belgrade, painted black, silent, a trophy of the war. Visitors walk past it, taking photos. Children climb on the landing gear. It's just another old plane now, but it represents something bigger. It represents the moment when the impossible became possible. When the invisible became visible, Colonel Zoltan Dani became a hero in Serbia. He wrote a book about the shootdown. He still keeps a piece of the wreckage in his home. He says he bears no hatred toward Captain Zelko. They've even met since the war, sharing drinks and stories. Captain Dale Zelko retired from the Air Force in 2005. He still flies today, but in civilian aircraft. He says he thinks about that night often. About how close he came to dying. About how luck played as much of a role as skill. The F-117 taught the world a valuable lesson. No machine is perfect. No technology is invincible. No secret lasts forever. And even the invisible can be seen if you know how to look. Today, stealth technology continues to evolve. The F-22 Raptor, the F-35 Lightning, the B-2 Spirit. They're more advanced, more sophisticated. But they all carry the legacy of the F-117, the plane that proved stealth could work. At Dark Whisper, we uncover the machines they tried to hide. Subscribe now. Because the sky has more secrets than you think. I'm Lucas, and I'll see you in the next investigation.